Hello, everybody. Welcome into the first edition of The Rundown, the basketball edition. Myself, Blake Thomas here. So glad to have you and so glad to have the fans with you. Welcome into a new season. You guys loved it in football. We decided to carry it over for basketball. And it turns out we have a very entertaining season upcoming on the hardwood.
Absolutely, we do. You know, we've got two really good teams in the CSAA and then four other ones fighting for position, jockeying for position. Big Rapids at 5-0, Grant at 4-0, and, you know, blowing out opponents for the most part. Grant hasn't played a close game. Big Rapids played one. You know, you'll see a good game tonight. Cedar Springs will be on the call tonight with Big Rapids. But, yeah, it's so far so good. It's been a fun season. Some interesting results that we did not expect.
Yeah.
But I think the league is pretty much wide open in those 2 through 6 spots. But I do think Grant and Big Rapids are the two odds-on favorites to win it right now, early in the season.
It looks to be, if Vegas had some odds, it would be on those two teams.
Yes,
but we'll talk about some of the other teams as well, as we'll catch through every team as we go through along with the season as well. We'll have some notable matchups we'll get through, and we'll highlight 4 main teams today as well as some games coming up on deck, and you guys can see the next 5 games upcoming on your screen for some teams coming in. But obviously, we'll start with the hometown, right, Big Rapids. Many people at home that are following me are like, what did you just say? I'm just going to keep going, though. Big Rapids especially, 5-0 to start the year, as you mentioned. Recording this on Tuesday. You guys will probably see it Wednesday or Thursday, but they'll be playing Cedar Springs, it was a good ball club.
Yes.
Took us to overtime at their place last year,
Yes.
but I think especially through the first 5 games, had some turnover troubles, had some struggles with the accelerator, right? Getting out in a hurry, quick, early on in the game, but they've still shown that they have the talent to win this league.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it starts with your 2 big returning starters, your 3 returning starters, Ty Gilchak, Cole Heist, and Gabe Jenga. Gabe, who's been our player of the game at least 3 times, I believe, this year already. So it starts with those 3, and then you add Liam McLaughlin, who's come in and brought some energy. You add Jerice Moten, who is a guy who didn't get a lot of time last year, a very well-kept secret. You mentioned that he's our leader in plus-minus right now. Whenever he's on the floor, we're having a good time. And then you bring in a guy like Lamont Belvin, who's come in and played his role fantastically. 8 boards, 5 assists, 3 or 4 points against a Tri-County team in a new role where he started. And then you get some other guys off the bench. Drew Heist, a little energy guy, freshman, comes in and has changed, changes everything. Was it the aviation game where he comes in, it was a Cedric Montcalm game. He comes in and gets a couple of steals, hits a couple of jump shots, opens the game up for them when they really needed someone else to produce. So overall, 5-0, that's how you want to start, 2-0 in the league. And they've been fantastic for the most part when they decide to buckle down and play. That's
Absolutely.
the biggest thing. You know, they've had some struggles early on, and they've sorted that out later in the games. But then you see against Tri-County on Friday, they came out guns a-blazing, and that game was over at halftime. So you're starting to see that they're starting to figure it out slowly but surely, and just in time to play a really good Cedar Springs team tonight.
Absolutely, and many folks are going to be looking forward. Obviously, tonight's game is important, but Friday night's game means more than anything, right? Going to the Den at Reed City, that's going to be an epic matchup. Can't wait to be on the call for that one. But especially when you look at where both these teams have, kind of looking now at Reed City on reciprocal, team to beat last year, incredible all the way across the depth. You could see the physicality. They could beat you inside and out. This year, losing a lot of those seniors, it has become apparent that you have the blessing of personnel. Coach Walsh did last year with the crew that he had. Still an athletic group, and it's always going to be close in a rivalry game. Reed City starting off a little bit sluggish for what they would want to be. Still got guys like Landon Jackson. Still got some other guys around the perimeter, that can make some plays, right? And so there's still going to be some good defensive play, I would assume, from them going against Big Rapids, and they're probably going to live by that defensive motto this year.
Yeah, one thing that Coach Walsh will have them doing is they will play hard and they will get better throughout the course of the year. So early trials and tribulations, especially after you graduate, 5 main contributors we talked about a little bit off air here, that changes everything. Landon Jackson's pretty much the only guy you bring back that gave a substantial amount of production for you last year. So they are going to move forward, and I'm sure they are going to continuously improve. And like you said, on Friday night, you throw the records out. It doesn't matter if somebody's 20-0 or 0-20. Anybody can win that game. It is one of the best-kept secrets. I grew up in the Lansing area, one of the best-kept rivalries that you don't know about in the entire state, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we need to, and I think the fans will agree with this, bring back the T-shirts, right? Beat BR, beat RC. I mean, you can see those in any, whether it's in here, I think it's February 7th, or if it was over there. Obviously, this Friday, it's such a great game. And obviously, they found some good luck as well with guys like Gabe Young that have stepped in, some younger players. So they're going to be a good team to beat. Chip Hills also has shown that they can play a little bit. They gave us fits at that gym. Obviously, Playing at that gym is tough from experience, but
it's very different.
They still have some. They have some good scores, right? They have some good athletes, Jackson Arntz and company. Yep. They can score it a little bit, and so that's a team that obviously they're 1-5 to start the year going into Tuesday night. But if they can improve, especially under the new coaching staff, and keep that culture going, they have the schedule to rack up some wins later in the season.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, anytime you go on the road to Reed City and you get a win there, that changes. You can change the whole trajectory of your season. That's a big win, and I can't tell you the last time we saw a Chip Hills team beat a Reed City team at Reed City. Yeah. It's been a while. So that's got to set you on a path where you're feeling some success moving forward. You know, they gave Big Rapids fits at their place. It was a 6-point ball game at halftime, and then Big Rapids came out the second half and went on a little run, pushed it to 16, and that was kind of the ball game, and they kept it that 20-point range, ended up winning by 20. But at the same time, Chip Hills plays defense. They have some guys who are capable of scoring when they need them to. And they've got all the pieces. It's just about putting those pieces of the puzzle back together or together to make it work. But they've at least got 1 or 2 in beating a Reed City team on the road. A huge win anytime you can do that.
Absolutely, and those are some of the gold teams, as formerly known now, into the red division and white division, respectively, in the CSAA. But you still have also, I mean, we mentioned it at the top in the open, right? It looks like a 2-horse race right now. Obviously, it's December. We still got 2 months to go. But right now, it looks like you have, obviously, Newaygo and Grant, very competitive teams, finished in the top half of the standings the last 2 years. But we saw the first edition of M37, and it certainly shows like Grant is the real deal, and Big Rapids and Grant might be the 2-horse race going in this division.
Absolutely. I watched a little bit of that film, and Grant was making jump shots, and you name it, that kid made a jump shot in the film I watched. I think they had 6 or 7 different guys hit a triple in the 3-minute stretch that I watched of the highlights they had. They are winning their CSAA conference games by an average of 41.5 points a game. They are outscoring their opponents like 74 points per game to about 30-something.
Wow.
They are on the ground, they're running. Anytime you're averaging 74 points a game as a high school team, you're doing a lot of good things, especially because they're putting teams into running clock as well. So you've got to be highly efficient, and that's what they're doing. You know, and they return everybody from a team last year outside of maybe one guard who was really good, and they got better and better and better as the season progressed. They have a new coaching staff as well. He was fortunate to get a loaded team. And they've hit the ground running. They look really, really good.
Yeah, and if you play Grant, whether it's at their place or on the road, they always seem to like to shoot the rock, and at a high level as well, and you can see why. And then obviously Tri-County as a team has athletes just trying to put the pieces together and find their identity, really moving forward in the season, and that's always been a team that has shown the sparks. Consistency's always been the main thing.
Absolutely. You know, I thought they did some good things against Big Rapids on Friday night, but they had nobody that can match up with Gabe. You know, he's a 6'8" small forward. Knocks down the jump shot, got to the rack at will. He shot 13 of 17 from the field with 12 rebounds. When you talk about efficiency, that is, you know, that's in the dictionary right there for efficiency. 13 of 17, 12 rebounds. Did a fantastic job, and they just didn't have an answer. I feel like that's going to be an issue for a lot of teams. You don't see too many kids 6'8" that can get out, jump, shoot the ball, get to the rack like he does. And it was an absolute fit for Tri-County. And moving forward, you don't see kids like that. And I think they have the athletic pieces. If they can get out and run, press, and get some easy buckets that way, I think they could bother some teams in the league.
Absolutely. And he's also a very humble kid, as he's literally sitting off screen right now, disregarding everything we're saying about him, and he's just ready to go to work. Right. So he might be a future guest on the show here later on.
Absolutely.
We'll just have to
Love
wait
to
to
have
see.
him.
Absolutely. Looking over at the other side here, the silver, also known as the white. Kent City's a team, always been competitive. Obviously, Cedar Springs played them very well at the beginning of the year. What Kent City looks to be that team Central Montcalm can show in spurts. They got some guys. Obviously, we saw their shooting that we saw here in this building only a few ways ago. And so they're going to be a team as well, as you got Morley Stanwood. And then you have White Cloud as well, the Jadens, right? They're not brothers anymore, right? Not the Robinson brothers, but you got the Jadens over there, Robinson and co. And so they can make some plays as well. So that'll be a very exciting league to watch as well.
Absolutely. You know, I think just looking at the scores in comparison, I think Kent City's probably your favorite for a couple of reasons. For one, they're playing teams like Cedar Springs. They're playing teams like Sparta. Even though they've lost those games pretty handily, they are getting better playing those teams. They beat Chip Hills 53-25 the other night. I think Central could bother them in spots, but they are an established program. David Ingles, who was there for several years beforehand, did a really, really good job with that group and kind of handed it off to the next guy. And they've kept that program rolling. And, you know, Central Montcalm, we saw them here. They did a really, really good job of devising a game plan to bother Gabe, to bother Cole. And it worked for 3 quarters, and then they finally ran out of gas, playing back-to-back games on a Monday and Tuesday night. They ran out of gas, and the Cardinals outscored them 21-6 in the final period there to stretch out a 14-point win. So I could see them, playing at Central Montcalm. That's it's a nice travel distance for anybody in this league. You could see a Central, getting them at their place. And then, Morley is a team with a new coach. Alexis Cummings, one of the best female basketball players I've ever seen in person. Watched her win a regional title over the Cardinals a long time ago. It feels like, and she's a well-known Morley Stanwood name. Gonna have those guys playing well, playing hard. They've seemed like they've had some success, played in some tight games already. Won a couple of games, so they're on the up and up as well. So a lot of good basketball in this area, and I'm really looking forward to seeing how it's going to shake out as we move towards January and February.
It's going to be really fun, and obviously we'll keep you guys along for the ride here as this preview episode just like that has come to a close. And we thank everybody for tuning in, and now we're going to have some great episodes for you upcoming. Be sure to subscribe, Big Rapids Daily News on YouTube, as we'll follow this boys basketball season as well. We'll touch on the JVs, we'll touch on the girls as well for how that they're doing, and we're just hoops fans at the end of the day. So if you're playing good hoops, we're going to highlight you here on the show. But Blake, thank you so much for joining us. That's going to be the first one of probably many here this upcoming winter. It's going to be great. So be sure to subscribe, and we will see y'all later. If you want to catch Big Rapids Cardinal basketball, be sure to go to News Radio WBRN, as well as log on WBRN.com. Find out all the information on when they're playing, pregame, all the fun stuff. We'll have the coverage usually every game night except for one Saturday. It'll be 6:30 pregame and 7 o'clock tip-off, whether it's in Cardinal Arena or anywhere else across the state of Michigan. So until then, we'll see you later. This has been an edition of The Rundown. Thanks for tuning in.